Hey everybody, welcome to the 73rd edition of Drive Thru Review. Today I'm going to talk about travel blog, Europe and USA with my son, Timothy. This is a game we've been playing as a family and quite enjoying it. So let me show you a little bit about how it works and then we'll both come back and tell you what we think. Okay, let me show you a little bit about what you get in the game. You get this little circular board here. On this board you'll be placing cards from either this blue deck or this red deck. Now the blue deck goes with the Europe map here, which you'll see here, and then the red deck will go with a map of the United States there. You've also got some money in the game, and this is sort of a papery, plasticky money. You also get these little beads, which I'll explain in a second, and then each player is going to get a little starter card here with a little cheat sheet and a player aid kind of thing, and then also 2 discs in their color. So for purposes of this demo, I'm just going to show you the American map here. But you can basically play 2 games, one with America or one with Europe. So before starting the game, everybody should study the map, and then you're going to close it, and then you're going to start the game. So if you look at this player aid here, you can see the game is broken into 7 different rounds. And then every other round, you're going to get an influx of cash. So you can see here at the start of the game, you get $100, and you'll be playing a game in this manner here. And I'll explain what these icons are in a second. 3rd round you get $200, 5th round you get $300, and then the 7th round you'll play in a completely reverse way of how you've been playing. So let me show you how the first round might work. So like I said, to start the game, everybody's going to get 100 euros, and then we're going to shuffle up these cards here because we're doing the United States. So we're going to do all these red cards, and then we're going to deal them out in these little slots here. And these are all the different states in the United States. So there's 50 cards, and in the case of Europe, there's 50 countries on their European map, and so you would deal out these cards here from the European map instead. So you're going to wait and let everybody look at all the cards that are up there, and then when everybody's ready, you're going to flip over this card in the center. And then players for the first round are going to place 1 disc next to one of these areas. So I may place a disc here, and Timothy may place a disc here. And then what you're going to do then is look at the map. So let's see what we did here. So we've got Maryland here in the middle, and this is the state we're trying to get to. And then I'm leaving from Tennessee, and Timothy's leaving from Texas. So if you look on the map here, you can see here's our destinations map, or state of Maryland. And then I can score Timothy, so I'll put his marker there for Texas. And then we're going to count how many borders we cross. And if you look at the top section of the scoring track here, you can see that for each border you cross, you're going to have to pay 10 money back to the bank. And if you picked a state that was right next to the destination state, you're actually going to lose 30 right off the bat. So you don't want to pick a state right next to it. You want to pick a state that's close to it so you don't lose as much money. But you don't want to be right next to it because then you'll just automatically lose 30 euros. So in this case, for Timothy's scoring, we'll do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So he'll lose 50 euros. And the player who placed the marker will get to choose the quickest, shortest route and try to, score it that way. So they're going to try to do the optimal path from here to here. Now in my case, I did Tennessee. So we'll put the marker there and then leave that on Maryland. And I'll do 10, 20, 30. Or you can see that I did 10, 20. If I went through Tennessee to Virginia to Maryland, that would be better. So I would have chosen that route. So I'm going to pay that money to the bank, and then we're going to reset. We're going to close this map back up, discard all these cards, and then we're going to do a second round. So the same way, we're going to put all these cards out all the way around, and then when everybody's ready and has had a chance to look at the cards, then we're going to flip over the center one, and then we're going to all quickly put our discs out. Now, if we had chosen the same spot, so in this case we've got Pennsylvania here, and Timothy knew right away that he wanted to go from North Carolina, but that's also where I went, and I put my disc on top of his. Then we basically pay the same amount of money in, but I'd lose $10 for each disc under my disc. So you have to be quick, but you also want to be right. So that's a nice aspect of the game. The other thing you can do is if nothing looks too great to you on the board, you can by default put your discs down here at the 40. So you would just pay 40 euros right to the bank, and that's it. And then it's the same rule that applies. Whoever has the disc on the bottom doesn't get a penalty, and then each disc on top will get -10 for every disc underneath it. So you can see the first 2 rounds are going to be played in this manner. And then at the start of the 3rd round, you're going to get an additional 200 euros. And then you're going to play in a slightly different manner. And the nice thing about the way they do this, as the game gets a little bit harder as you move on, is you can just teach the game sort of 1 round at a time. So for the 3rd and 4th round, you're going to play it like so. So you're going to deal out 1 card in the middle, and then the players are going to have to place both their discs out. And they've got to play it in 2 different spots. So if I wanted to play, let's say, North Dakota and Wisconsin to get to Pennsylvania, then I will choose my route leaving Pennsylvania, going to either disc I can choose, and then from whatever disc I chose, I'm going to the next disc, and then pay according to this. So 10 euros for each border crossing, and then any adjacencies are going to be minus 30. So just like in the first round, if you place the disc next to the state that is the target state, you'll lose 30. And if your discs are right next to each other, you're also going to lose 30. So you're going to play rounds 3 and 4 that way. And then at round 5, you're going to get 300 euros. And rounds 5 and 6 are going to be played slightly different. So in this case, we're going to deal up a second card. So you can see you've got card, disc, disc, card. So in this case, for round 5, I would have 2 cards. And then I would choose, okay, which one of these is going to be my starting state? And then I'd go through the discs in any order I chose, and then end in the second state. Again, paying out the money as depicted here. And then in the last round, it's slightly different. So it's played basically the same as rounds 5 and 6, where you go from card to disc to disc to card. But in this case, you're trying to be as far apart as possible. And instead of losing money for each of these states crossed, you're going to gain money. So you can see here you get 10 bucks for each state. You get $30 for being next to the state. You still lose $10 for being on the stack, but you're trying to make the route as long as possible. And in this case, the other players are going to choose the route to make sure it's not as long as it should be. So they're going to try to choose the shortest route from whatever you've chosen out here on the board. And that's simply it. Whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the overview. First, Timothy's going to tell you why he likes this game.
Okay, so, like, it reminds me of one of my favorite shows,
Amazing Race.
Amazing Race. And then, also, I like it because, I mean, you can play it with, like, 4 or 5, like, different people. And, we get these games, and I find them really fun. Me and my family always play them, and we find them really fun.
Good. Yeah, he likes the game. He gets to learn a little bit about geography. He started learning geography in school this year, so it's kind of a good time for him. And then my wife is actually from South Africa, so she's getting to learn the geography of the United States as well. So that's fun. And then we want to make it hard, we just play Europe, because none of us know any of those countries. All the countries' names have changed since I've been in school. And it's nice because it's used quickness to it, so there's a little sort of semi-dexterity thing, and you've got to be quick, and it just plays really quickly. You can play in like 25 minutes. And it's nice because you can play 2-player. Me and my wife actually just played the 2 of us, and you can play as 2 people and put discs down for 2 different colors of players. So it's definitely a great game. It's really nice, and the components are nice. And then Timothy's going to want to show you a little trick he does when he plays the game. But yeah, it's a great game, and I highly recommend it for anybody that has kids, you know, in the family, especially his age. He's in 4th grade learning geography. So he's going to show you a little trick he does to help him.
Okay, so here's the map you would be looking at to see where you're closest to. And if you know your maps of, yeah, like that and stuff, you could kind of like cheat off the back, and you could, if you know your maps well enough, you could see that Idaho's here and stuff like that. Like
so you got Florida and Texas and all that. So when you turn the map over, you still have, you don't get totally lost, because if you know where certain things are, you can kind of have to take a good guess that way.
Yeah, and same with this map.
Now for Europe, you can do kind of the same deal.
And that's the Europe map. You can see Russia and all that.
Yep.
And same with the back on it. It's a little bit more confusing, but
yeah, it is.
But still, if you know where you are good enough, you can really find yourself, because here's Russia and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, everything looks great. The artwork on everything's nice, and definitely recommend it. So, Travel Blog. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.